Welcome to Work the Left Side. I'm hyper hyped to announce tonight's guest. I am joined by, personally for me, one of the top tag teams in the country. I'm joined by Quintessential. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm real good. Had a lovely day. It's been a lovely week.
Yeah.
Nice. Obviously, I've set the bar straight off the bat, calling you one of the best tag teams in the country. I don't think it's far. I don't think I'm over exaggerating. I know you're at the top of a lot of people. You're in a lot of people's top fives. I'll say that at least. So, and you've only been around for a couple of years as well. You've only been, what, 2023?
So much good. It was 2023 we started. 6th of May was our tag debut.
That's crazy. So just over 2 years.
Yeah.
No points for guess. I knew that was against.
Actually,
yeah.
Obviously, it was
I did have a look at cage matches sort of clocks like your debut. I totally forgot. I was trying to think who I was going to memorize and try and impress you with my wily knowledge and be like, you made your debut against. I totally forgot.
It's honestly, take a guess.
I'd say actual.
You're probably right. Yeah.
Actual FTM.
Yeah. It was Act 2.
We were about before FTM. We taught FTM everything they know.
Right. There you go. Got to learn from the best. But yeah, I mean that is crazy. Like 2 years. We'll get to this. I always kind of sort of say there's only one generic question during these episodes, so we'll kind of get that out of the way, and then we'll just kind of let the conversation go. But right then, so 2 years ago, did you two start training together? Did you kind of go into it thinking you're gonna, looking at tag team wrestling, or did you kind of get into it individually, and then just that's how the cookies crumbled?
So the way we got into wrestling through, because there's us two and then there's 3 brothers above us, and the 2 eldest couldn't even fuck about wrestling. They just don't care. And then the middle child, he was the one who got us into it, just by throwing us around trampoline and that, like the classic sort of way of getting into wrestling.
Yeah, I had no choice.
So then I think growing up, no way. I think growing up, it was always like the matches that we'd watch and I'd always like associate with were the Hardy Boys. Those were like the coolest guys in the world to us. And like we used to play SmackDown versus Raw with our brother, and I was always Matt Hardy because Jeff Hardy was always taken. But then I got so good at Matt Hardy that they had to ban me from using him because he was the only person I'd use. So like it was that, and then Christy was the one who like found the school that we started at. He went for, was it your 13th birthday?
It was the week before my 13th. I found a school that I actually found it the year before, but I had quite a bit of trouble in school. I had like mental health issues and stuff, so I gave myself a year to sort of sort my head out and get back into school, and then I'll join a wrestling school, like, and that's like my reward for getting better. So yeah, I found the school went a week before my 13th birthday, and there was kids there in like the kids class that looked younger than Pud, and we were like, let's ask, see if Pud can have a go.
So I walked over. walked over to the head coach and said like, "Oh, that kid over there looks well younger than me." And he was like, "Oh, we do trials from 8, because it said on the website that you could start from 12." So I was 10 at the time, and I was just like, "Right, well, next week can I come?" And he said, "Yeah." And then that was it. Really, we were hooked.
Wow.
Yeah, Pud's always been very outgoing and confident. So it's walking up to this like 6'4" wrestler and going, "Listen, I'm coming next week. Deal with it."
I mean,
It was
yeah.
very Pudrick, very Pud.
That's awesome. Because that's the thing as well. Obviously, like, yeah, you know, that's the thing. We're sort of saying you made your debut like 2 years ago, but you guys have been training for a few years prior to that. Then, obviously, because of like ages and stuff. So you guys were like, you had years of experience under your belts before you made your debuts. Because you know, no, obviously, you know, you're not 13 or 14-year-old now, kind of thing. So you've been doing it for a few years.
Yeah, if I was 14, that would be a tough paper round.
Big time. People assume you're 30
no,
anyway.
yeah, I was on my first show when I was 14. I'm 21 now, so I've been about for a while. Only like, not like super high level shows or anything. That's only come. I mean, not that I'm even on super high level shows, but the level I'm at now, that's only come recently. Like we've started to get some sort of snowballing over the last couple of years. We've both been around for a little while. Like I was when lockdown came about, our school shut, and then with speaking out, rightfully so. Like there was loads of safeguarding stuff put in place, so it meant Pud was too young to train anywhere really. So we had to like wait and for Pud to be 16, I think it was. But
there was a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry, there was a lot of like, Christy helped a lot at that time, because since I was as young as I can remember, I've wanted to be. I want to say about 2012. We both kind of drifted away from it, and that was when I decided like right, old boy, and then like started training again. I was like, oh, started training for the first time. Sorry, I wasn't training 2012. I was 6, and I was like, oh, this is like what I want to do for the rest of my life. And then lockdown happened. Obviously, I couldn't train. And Christy reached out to Fighting Spirit when that was still going, and they were like super lovely, like saying, it's regrettable that I can't train, but it was for the best, obviously. Future Shock, the same thing. So that was tough for me, because I knew that it was pretty much the only thing I've ever been good at, especially sports wise. So like hearing that I couldn't do that and couldn't do the thing that was my dream was like just heartbreaking. But it helped me a lot, because like it sent me down to like looking at other options. So I got into jiu-jitsu at that time, which I don't do anymore. But I probably should, realistically. And that helped me a lot with like, I mean, when I came back to wrestling, then I was like better than when I left it. I didn't have any of the ring rust or anything, which is why I think I like sort of when I started, I kind of did so well coming back. Now looking back, fucking hell, I was shite. But at the time,
At the time, it was like, yes. I've always kind of mentioned, like, you know, when people do like, you know, martial arts and then kind of do the wrestling as well, they kind of sort of say there's that obvious crossover. And it does help, you know, like with the kicks and, you know, like your footwork and things like that. So it's probably a good way, like you said, just kind of keeping things loose and just getting ready to
yeah, I
come back.
mean, I think like jiu-jitsu was like the best, and amateur wrestling and stuff like that would be the best. I find that like yeah, a lot of guys who've done boxing prior come in and they can be amazing and their cardio is great, but they've then got to unlearn how to punch.
Yeah.
Because their punches look worse because they haven't learned how to pull a punch. They've just learned how to go through a skull. Whereas like the grappling sports is all about body control and stuff like that. Which is super helpful. It's all helpful coming into it, but I think jiu-jitsu is great for me, kind of getting obviously my cardio up and stuff like that, but also just keeping on track of body control, and I was still doing rolls and stuff like that there. So
I've heard a lot of people say that there is nothing that can prepare you for wrestling cardio. There's nothing else like
no
it
way.
anywhere in the world. Nothing pushes
Yeah.
you like cardio-wise like wrestling does. CrossFit was like about the second that a few people have mentioned, but yeah, nothing can prepare you for running the ropes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's
It's
there's
getting
no
hit. It's getting hit and then getting all the wind taken out of you, and then having to get up and then sprint and then get hit again.
yeah.
Get all the wind taken out of you. Get up, sprint. It's like it's so stop start. Having to like regulate your breathing and stuff. That's the hard part.
I was going to mention before when you sort of said about the snowball effect, you're building up that momentum and stuff like that now. I sort of said, I said it at the start, I'm not going to repeat myself, but, you have got that reputation now of, as a tag team, where I think you could go into any promotion. I said it to Act 2 when they, on their episode, there's certain tag teams across the country where you could turn up in any promotion, challenge for the tag title, and the fans would not second guess it. They would pop, be like, oh shit, I know it's just going to be one-off exhibition match, but man, Quintessential, in the house, yeah, it's like, okay, that's cool. And there's a few tag teams, like I say, Act 2, Reese and Rogan, CrashBoat, you guys, and I'll leave the fifth slot open for different people in different areas to pick their own tag team kind of thing. But yeah, you guys are like, I wouldn't be surprised to see you on any show.
Thank you. That means a lot. I think for us, I've loved tag team wrestling since I was little. Like obviously, like get into it with the Hardys and like Edge and Christian and TLC and all that, and then like the SmackDown 6 and I just remember being a kid and tag team wrestling being so exciting. It's just and like when I got into wrestling and then sort of me and Pud sort of like prioritize being tag team specialists. I think like not against throwing two guys together and seeing what happens. Some of the best tag teams in history have been that, but going into it and being like, we're gonna be as good at tag wrestling as we can possibly be, and be kind of students of the game in that sense. Sort of means a lot to us. It's putting together a tag team to the end and being like, wow, we did that. Is so rewarding. There's so many moving parts.
It's the most rewarding
and
thing.
Pieces that need to fall into place. Yeah.
That's it for me. A great tag team match.
My favorite match of all time. I'd say so. I think so. My favorite match of all time is DIY versus the Revival, 2 out of 3 falls. That was just like when I watched it for the first time, I was like, this isn't just a new thing, because I'd always watched tag team wrestling, but obviously I was like 10 when I saw the match, and it was just like I'd never watched 80s tag teams or anything like that, and it was just like all of these styles coming together. And now I reckon I rewatch the match like every month, and I still pick out new bits that I love from it and that I take from it. I watched it the other day, before our debut at Resurgence, which was awesome. And I was just watching it like, this is the best thing I've ever seen, better than any film.
Oh, that's a bold statement. I would say I love that match. I don't know if you guys watched. I'm trying to remember who the fourth guy was, but it was It was FTR versus Jay White and I want to say Brian Pillman. But yes, Juice Robinson. That's it. So I totally forgot his name. Yeah, their match
That was a
a
great
couple
match.
of years ago. An hour long, just like 60 minutes of just tag team gloriousness.
Really great.
Insane, yeah. FTR are the best to ever do it in terms of tag team wrestling. We take so much.
Yeah, just I love them. I think in terms of like tag team wrestling as a craft, they're just so far beyond. They're just so smart, and the two guys that shouldn't have gotten so far, like if you look in terms of like not really body guys, they're hairy, they're short, you know, they've got that southern accent that apparently higher ups didn't like, but just so undeniable in terms of ability and work rate. They're just the goats.
Oh man,
big time.
that's it. I'm presuming as well you would be in the same mindset as myself of a tag team should always beat two singles wrestlers put together. You know, not two singles put together who have formed a team, but like two singles that have been put together for the sake of a match. A tag team should always be.
Ideally, I mean, I'm probably biased, but ideally, because that is the draw of a tag team is these are specialists at this specific match. Like it's like if you had like a deathmatch guy and he was getting beat by Johnny Grislock. You know what I mean? Like, what's that about? You had a deathmatch, like, or you had fucking a British rounds, like British style can guy being beaten in a submission match by fucking a deathmatch guy. You know, like it does.
Or by Doink. Or a comedy, a comedy wrestler beating a pure wrestler.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean,
but again, there's counters to every rule. You know what I mean? Like, it's situational.
I think realistically, a tag team wrestling is a stipulation match. It is the same as a ladder match or a 2 out of 3 falls or a submission or anything like that. And a big component of what we try to do when we wrestle is and what we've been taught by all the great people who've shown us so much about tag team wrestling, like Act 2 and Flash Morgan Webster, and that is to make the match about the stipulation, because you'd never watch a ladder match where no one climbs the ladder. So why would you ever watch a tag match where it's not about the tag wrestling? And that's the way we sort of try and see it.
I've always said the hot tag can be the greatest moment in any match ever, kind of thing. If you work that hot tag, that will always get a reaction. The fans will always just go freaking nuts.
And you know what? Hot tags are hard as hell. They're the worst to do. When we started out, I was always the guy getting beaten up, and Christy was always the guy doing the hot tag. And I was just like, oh yeah, I'm sure it's fine. And then I did my first ever hot tag at a show in was it Northampton, I think. And just after a super hot day, like the room didn't have any like air conditioning and none of the windows were open. And just straight after it, I was meant to like hit a move, and I was just like, I don't know if I can remember how to breathe. I think I've forgotten.
That would have been wrestling in Northampton, I guess, last year, wasn't it, or something like that? I seem to.
Yeah,
I saw them on.
It was Win. It was against Act 2.
Yeah, for the elevation titles. Yeah, for Elevate. So you're having that cross promotional kind of shenanigans going on.
Yeah, still want to be brought into Elevation, but
yeah, that's like I said. I was looking at promotions. I mean, you guys have got an amazing scene. Over that side. You've got so many like great promotions, like I said. Early TNT, Infamous, Infinite, Atomic. Just top of my head, those four. That's there's a load more as well. But yeah, I'm kind of wanting to see you kind of. Like I said, obviously, True Grit is my local promotion. We sponsor them. I would absolutely pop a nut if you guys turned up at True Grit or somewhere like that. Just all Rise, or we want to see you over in Yorkshire a bit more.
Yeah, that'd be great. I want to.
it'd be awesome. Yeah, the venue's beautiful
for True Grit. Yeah, I want to try and get down to training in Yorkshire. Pursuit looks like a really cool school, so we want to try and get down there.
I didn't know it was in Yorkshire. I don't know where Yorkshire is. I'm
the
the worst at geography.
I think it's in Sheffield.
It's Sheffield? Is Sheffield Yorkshire?
Yeah. I'm a Midlands boy, so I'm not going to be offended by that. But yeah, for the Yorkshire folk, I'll apologise. But it is. But that's it. I mean, obviously, like I said, I've been watching. I put on social media, I've put on Twitter and Instagram earlier that match you guys had against, surprisingly, Act 2, the Infamous 8 last year. And I watched one that you had at Atomic where it was like a fatal 4-way. It was you guys, Act 2, Meat Wagon, and I'm going to look like an absolute pleb because I forgot who the fourth team were.
I'll send them in.
I feel like an idiot now. I'll audio over it. You'll just get some weird dubbing. Like, blah, blah, blah. But mate, yeah, that Meat Wagon obviously is another team. I mentioned before earlier. I had my top 5. I had my top 5. Meat Wagon would have been my 5th team on there. But I mean, Atomic is a great promotion as well. You guys look like you always have fun there.
Oh, I love Atomic.
It's
always one of our best days. It's always one of our best days in wrestling. Our mates are there. Such a cool vibe. It's hip. It's like it's underground. It's cool to be there. Like you're in a brewery. It's the clientele's cool. It's just a really nice vibe. It's so much fun. And that tag division is great. They have something really special in the Atomic tag division. And people want to be there, like just want to see this place succeed, and are going out and like no one's half-arsing it. Just want to put each other every single match. So yeah, super cool place.
And Christy, you took on Declan McCarthy there as well, in a rare singles outing that I saw you.
Yeah.
Wasn't he dressed as Ben Harland?
I was. Yeah, it was a Halloween show, so it was an Act 2 swap gear. Yeah, I really enjoyed that match. I've been wanting to wrestle Deck for ages, and I'd love to do it again. Just love to smash into each other.
I mean, are you guys all like really closely knitted over there then? Like, sort of, because it does sort of seem like Infamous, Infinite, Atomic. You guys know each other like really, really well, kind of thing. You must have that sort of sense of just being comfortable with each other and kind of, you know it's going to be a good day when you're working with all these guys.
Yeah, I think
definitely.
Yeah.
I think like the sort of scene that we have going on up. By the way, I'm so sorry, my Wi-Fi's terrible, so I keep cutting you guys off and coming in late. It's really annoying me, so I'm sure it's getting on your nerves. But anyway, the sort of scene that we've got in the Northwest and like particularly Liverpool, because that's close to us, close to our hearts, and where we want to see succeed the most. It's just amazing. And so there's 3 top promotions in Liverpool, obviously, like specifically Liverpool. And then Merseyside as a whole has so much like great things going on. But there's, I mean, TNT, for all the freaks and weirdos, TNT is the one. You know, Atomic has this real like raw 2000s American Indies vibe that we love because we have grown up watching it. And like Infinite is just telling banger stories and putting on banger matches, and Brutal Mania and Monkey Barnes is the guy. It's just amazing to be in this sort of area, and I'm so proud of the scene. The tag scene in the Northwest is amazing. You know, like us, obviously, I'm gonna gas us up. I think we're amazing. I love watching our matches back because I'm an arrogant guy. Meat Wagon, fucking incredible. I messaged Troy Ryan the other day. I said, "How do I work on my triceps?" And he was just so excited to talk to me about triceps. You know, you've got FTM who are doing great things. They've obviously just won the Future Shock Tag Team Championships, their first Tag Team Championships, and we couldn't be prouder. I mean, they're knobheads, but they're still a Liverpool tag team. The 05 of making big waves. It's just awesome to be a part of like where we are, and I just love watching it grow.
Yeah, the 05 are a team I sort of saw at the last Infamous show, and I think they took on. They kind of took your place. They were fighting Act 2, and it was like, wow. Not seen much of them, but I saw that one match. And
nobody takes our place forever.
No, they're great boys. Deck and Harvey, really, really good lads. Great team.
We had a nerf war that show.
You know, like I said, you got it's just the scene itself is huge. You got so much going on. You like I said, you got those promotions. You got Wrestle Island as well. So I'd be amiss if I didn't mention Wrestle Island whilst I was talking about that side over there. But yeah, like it's just. But we've talked about, you know, we've talked about Atomic. Yeah, massive shout out to Troy Ryan. You know, legitimately one of the nicest guys I think I've ever spoken to. He's just.
I don't know it. I don't know anyone who has a bad word to say about Troy or Anderson.
No way.
Great boys. Great boys.
Mate, I've got to the hair. I mean, dude, it was like mullet-tastic. And then I was watching all these matches. I was like, oh, mate, love the hair. Got hair envy. And then it's all gone.
Yeah, so Christy got his cut back quite a lot to look like Rick Grimes, which, to be fair, he did for a bit. And then late last year, I was in hospital with some autoimmune issues. Like the long and the short of it was end stage kidney failure, like nearly. So when I came back from that, and while I was like in hospital, my hair was just doing me head in because I couldn't wash it. I was just laid up in the bed, and I thought, I can't ask the nurses to shave it, but I would so love for them to shave it. So I got out and I got off the couch. I got all recovered, and then I was just walking to the bus stop one morning and went, I'm just gonna shave it tonight. So I googled what you had to do for the Little Princess Trust. Got me mum to help me with that. Sent off to her, set up the fundraiser. And I was so ecstatic to see like the I think it was up to £740 we raised, which is enough to have helped get a young person or just anyone suffering from cancer or alopecia or anything like that, get them a professionally made and fitted wig to just, you know, change their life and give them more confidence. And I was just so buzzing with that.
That's amazing, dude. I didn't realise. I didn't realise. You know, there's actually sort of a backstory. I thought you just kind of like got up one and just like and just shave off kind of thing. You know, just to look like a freaking taxi. You know, De Niro from Taxi Driver or something. It just makes you look more badass. It's like, yeah, that's it. Wow.
I do feel more badass, to be honest.
You just stand there and go like that. You just look more. But yeah, mate, that's amazing. I kind of feel like a fucking idiot for sort of saying about
no way.
But feeling better now? You know, obviously, you know, you're back wrestling, back sort of working. So I presume everything's good. You're okay.
Yeah, brother. Back to good health. Just a few like dietary changes and stuff like that. Nothing I can't handle. But it was just a big it was a big wake up call to say like, oh, you're not invincible.
Yeah. So, well, new diets, better triceps. Jobs are good.
They got me. They said, you can go home now. Just come back Boxing Day. Came back Boxing Day. They let me go again because I'm the guy. And then it was just a case of recovering. They said, it'll be 3 months, so that would have been March that I would have been um back to like training and stuff. Sorry, I'm just moving now because the Wi-Fi is horrendous. It would have been March that I would have been back to training and shows and stuff. But turned out, you know, 3 weeks later, I got down to New Wave West Midlands with our boys Act Two. Flashmon Webster kindly let us just sort of turn up. And I was doing backflips and shit again. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Not Mr. Beat. I saw you had a match at New Wave. I was going to mention that because again, that's kind of, you know, I was talking about you guys. You know, I wanted to kind of see you guys over this sort of side. But I know New Waves, it's not quite over here, but it is outside of your radius. So it's like, you know, your radius of bookings is starting to expand. But yeah, they're still quite a newish promotion. But I presume, obviously, you know, there's some big names attached there. They've got some awesome people, you know, training and learning and teaching there. So that must have just been, again, just another fun day out.
Yeah, Flash and Knudsen and Haskins coaching there. The coaching's just insanely good. Just insane. The facilities are great. Great atmosphere, really great. Like they cultivated this really lovely sort of tight knit sort of community around the school, and having links to the other new wave schools, Newport, Cardiff, the new one in Toronto. So many like opportunities there. It's a really cool place. I think I'd urge anyone. Like, there's enough of them in the country now. You're more than likely close to one wherever you are. I'd urge everyone, if you're looking to get into wrestling, have a look at New Wave. New Wave West Midlands, great school. Great school.
I will always, just Haskins is like one of my top 5 single competitors. So as soon as Haskins was associated with New Wave, I was like, oh, that's it. That shit's awesome for me. I'm like, yeah,
he's awesome. He's so good. Just like the way he moves, just watching him, like, and the way he thinks about wrestling, it's just like, wow, you just know this shit, like the back of your hand, you just know it.
Just gets it, kind of thing. It's just, so I mean, yeah. So I was sort of saying, you know, the bookings, I was absolutely mind blown because, as I sort of said earlier, you know, you guys could turn up in any promotion, challenge for any title. It's not going to come as a surprise. Yay, Quintessential. But you've already held. Well, again, this is why I'm going to look like an absolute pleb, or I'm going to look knowledgeable. According to Cage Match, you've only held one title. You know, FT,
only one of them.
The future tag team titles.
Yeah, only one
that's
so far.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we've been unlucky, but you know, I think there's more to come. We're young, still relatively new for a team.
Yeah,
we got more coming.
Definitely.
We got the Infamous 8 tournament. That'll lead on to some great things. You know, we're around. We're sniffing about the Atomic belts, TNT. Yeah, we're in the conversation. You know, wherever we are. But it's just about getting there.
That's it. And a total contradiction kind of thing. So again, you know, I've sort of said it seems like you've been around for ages. You guys work like you've been around for years, but I keep forgetting you've only been around for 2 years. So it's not that surprising. Yeah, in fairness, you've only held won a lot of belts for now. But yeah, over the next 12 months, I want to see a photo of you two just belt collecting. You know, you got this title, this title, this title, this title, just stood there like,
Yeah.
there we go.
I don't know. I don't know if I have the bag space for that.
I can't afford a new suitcase.
No way.
But well, I just have to wear them more, just accessorized. VGS, obviously talking Infamous. Spoke to Tommy Jackson before. Again, awesome human being. Love what you guys are doing in the VGS. I can't even speak. The VGS. That elevator match at Infamous was an absolute just chaos, but in the best kind of way. Yeah, so the VGS, how are you guys finding it? You know, is it something? Does it feel good to have not just you two guys, but you know, you've got other people around you as well, part of a larger faction?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's always nice to link up. Mainly sort of Wrestle Island Infamous. You get to sort of link up with those boys and you know, do our thing there.
Yeah, it's fun to do more stuff in a sort of bigger way, like in what am I trying to say? Just do faction stuff. It's cool to be able to do that.
Like when we first started like training, 2016. That's like, you know, like Bullet Club is the coolest thing on earth. So like, you know, I've always loved factions. I loved Punk and the Nexus. I loved the Shield. You know, so it was always like when sort of Tommy came to me and said, I'm thinking of starting this group. I want you to be a part of it. I was like, yeah, that's cool. You know,
it just kind of reminds me of the New Age Outlaws and DX, that kind of thing. You know, you've got the established tag team as part of a faction kind of thing. So like you sort of said, you know, with Nexus and Shield, it was all very much individuals, or it was just a faction. But yeah, like the Outlaws and DX, you know, they were an established tag team that would kind of just hang out with these other guys as well, and it worked really well.
Yeah, I mean there's a photo of Christie from a Raw or something that they did in like years and years ago. It was like the DX tour or something like that. And Christie's wearing his DX shirt, which we kept in the family for years. And when I went to my first WWE show, I wore the DX shirt. Some guy had given Christie these C Nation armbands and headband and stuff. DX was always the coolest thing going. So like growing up and being able to like be in a faction, it is just you do feel a bit cool.
Obviously, Lance Rivera as well was an honorary member of the VGS, and there's kind of, you know, staying on the commentary about, again, you know, it's just another person that you guys are really close with. You know, you guys enjoy working together as well.
Yeah, I mean, so I've known Lance since I was 10, of course, and just like we like trained with him, and I used to look up to him on shows. I just like he was like the man in that sort of the first like school that we went to, and so like being his mate was always cool. And obviously there's stuff going on at Wrestle Island. He's moody or whatever. But like, you know, getting to team with him in that match, and that was it was a really cool moment. You know, if you remember, we started it off with all three of us doing a dive, which was like just a cool visual, but also like it meant quite a lot to me personally doing like that. There's also dives were frowned upon in that school, so fuck them.
We're gonna dive. We're gonna dive. That's it. But it just seems like, yeah. Again, it's just, you know, the amount of talent you guys have got over there. You're kind of training together, working just kind of steel sharpens steel. I say it so many times, it kind of become really sort of cliched, but you all seem to just make each other better. You know, you're just all kind of standing on each other's shoulders, but then lifting each other up as well.
It's a
Yeah.
lovely Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. Sorry. It is. I think the Northwest. I'd put that scene up against any in the UK, and there might not be as many eyes on it, but I'd put the scene up against any in the UK. Some of the top people in the country have come from it. Like Luke Jacobs, amazing. Like us too. Scott Oberman, Ethan Allen, Tom Felwell, just these great guys who have come from that Northwest scene. It is iron sharpens iron, and I think the tag division, in sort of the Northwest and I'm gonna take Act Two from the Midlands. They're ours. Act Two are like still are super important to us and who we are as a team. And sort
They
of
are
any
they are literally just
good
our
about
best
us.
friends.
Best friends, tag team mentors, like
Yeah.
they're just great guys. Great
I don't
wrestlers.
think there's much in wrestling that like I don't personally, and I think I speak for Christy as well, that I don't owe like to them completely.
Yeah.
Just like, and they'd hate us saying this, but
Yeah.
just everything we've learned from them, like from that first match that we had, and even before that, just in every aspect of wrestling has helped us so much. And just having
And
those, because
just
they've been about
just like bookings and stuff, like just helping us so much, and like the amount of bookings we get from Con. I mean, Ben messaging us, being like, "Listen, are you free? Are you free this date?" And we're like, "Yeah, of course."
we're always free.
Yeah, we're always free. They're so helpful. They like they'll give you the shares off the backs.
Yeah.
So we get to like aid and help people. And for us, we've taken as much as we can. Just because they're so good at what they do. I think they're one of the best tag teams in Europe. They're just amazing. Slept on.
Made me laugh though, because they're sort of saying that they hated each other when they first started. It was only when they got put together in a team that they started to like each other and they started like bonding. So I don't know how much of that is true, but that was their words. I think Jack was like, fucking hated Ben. No, didn't like him. Didn't like him at all. It was like, wow.
Yeah. They are like they are different as people, but they just work well.
They bicker.
Sort of, yeah, they bicker, but me and Pud bicker. It's they bicker because they care, But
Yeah.
they're so coherent and they love each other and we love them.
Is the inevitable? Are you guys gonna, FTR it? You just gotta be, together forever kind of thing, or if the day eventually ever does come, have you guys talked about it? Have you kind of, fantasy booked it? Have you kind of thought, well, obviously I'm going to be the heel. Obviously you would be the face.
I want to jump in here and like say straight away. For me personally, the dream's always been to tag with Christy, and I get to do that now. And I've got no intention of ever like not tagging with him because he's my best friend, he's my brother, and he's someone who every time I step in the ring with him, I feel like I learn something and we learn something together. It's just so it makes wrestling more fun having someone there. Every travel day, whenever we're training, it's like I know that he's there. and it's very comforting to have that. So unless it's like a big WrestleMania moment, I can't see there being any reason that I'd ever want to like split up Quintessential at all. And
No, I think
it was
I echo everything Pud said. I love wrestling with Pud. Always having someone there in your corner, not just like literally in ring, but on travel days, on just you've got someone you can rely on. But yeah, I'd never say, oh, we're gonna do, a breakup. I personally, not for me. I think I'm happy to do singles stuff and
yeah,
you know
always.
say see you in a bit for a bit. Never, no animosity or whatever. But I don't
I
want
think
that like that big breakup because what's the point?
I think quite like literally and sort of not peeling back the curtain, but giving a sort of insight. It's being an independent wrestler as well. Say me and Christy next show we break up in one company and we've got no intention of breaking up in any other companies, but then they're gonna see that and the fans are gonna see that and they'll think, oh well then now they've broken up. So I just wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want it to be a sort of thing of like, oh, are they together? Aren't they together? Because it just gets messy. I think if we were under contract and Triple H said to me, or
Yeah,
Tony Khan or whoever said, listen, you two are gonna break up, have a big feud, have a big blow off match, I'd be like, cool. And then I'd say, can we team again after? Because singles wrestling's fun, tag wrestling's so much funner.
be like the Hardy Boys who broke up a few times, but they always got back together. They was always going to get back together.
Bagsy Jeff.
But that's it. I mean, obviously, again, speaking from a fan's perspective, that's one of the things that's always kind of it's mind-boggling with British wrestling. Like you sort of said, certain tag teams working as a team in some promotions, being enemies in other promotions. It's like when you get people who work face some places, heels in other places. It's tricky to keep track of sometimes. So yeah, if you guys want to stay together everywhere, that's awesome. It makes it easy for me.
Yeah, I mean, some we I don't think we've tagged ever at like Wrestle Island, for example. And I'm
We were
happy.
meant to.
Like I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy to. It's nice to have like the singles stuff going on. I've got the under 23 trophy. I've got Lance Rivera next show. I'm gonna batter him for hitting Bud. Bud's got the big title match.
Super excited for that.
Yes. Oh yeah, just noticed. I remember seeing that Wrestle Island graphic. It's again, yeah, it's at Wrestle Island, isn't it? Sorry, I was just picking up Lance Rivera like 5 minutes ago on about that elevator match.
Yeah.
And totally forgot that you guys had got a one-on-one competition coming up.
Yeah. So this so last show, obviously, for those not in the know, what are you doing? Why are you listening to us on a podcast if you don't know everything we do? Fake fan, get out me life. But last show, I was trying to comfort Lance Rivera after his loss, because he did lose. 'Cause he's a loser. And switched up on me, switched up on a day one, like a rat. This next show, I earned my way to a main event spot in the company that I debuted for, and a company that I hold near and dear to my heart, and some of my favorite days in wrestling have been at. So I get to wrestle. I mean, for me, you have these two top guys in our scene in the Northwest, two top singles guys. You've got Luke Jacobs at the top of the mountain, and then just creeping up is Scott Oman. And I think he's so slept on, and it's awesome to see him getting like recognition. And I have so much respect for him, and I love watching him as a wrestler. But in the ring on the 29th of June for Wrestle Island, respect doesn't really matter to me. It's a man's world, and I don't care about your 5 minute long entrance. I'll do one that's 6 minutes long. Couldn't give a fuck, mate.
Always got one better.
Defo.
I was speaking to Josie Lampkin last week, and he was on about one of his first matches. I think it was his debut match that he remembers at Temple. I think it was. He sort of said, Josie versus Pud from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, just a little training match one. Little fun one. It's always nice, lads like Josie, Candy Stan, all them lot. It's nice to see them also like so bubbly and happy about wrestling, and I hope that never fades. It hasn't for me. I'm still happy. I love seeing new people coming into training, because this sport, I mean, pro wrestling is for everyone. It is for like anyone. So training wise, like seeing new guys still coming in, and like the '05, they came in to Future Shock, and they're making huge waves now. It's just, I love seeing our sport grow, and having guys like Josie there to just, sort
Embrace
of, yeah, that's the best way of putting it. It's just an awesome thing to be a part of, isn't it? British wrestling. Me and Christy used to watch WCPW back in the day, and now like I can say I've worked guys on that show, and I'm friends with them, and like just meeting them. Remember, I met Martin Kirby, and I was like still super new into wrestling. I was like, that was Martin Kirby, and he just shook my hand. That's fucking mad.
Joe Connors, a big one.
Joe Connors, and he's the man. Flash the ear, flash the ear.
That's it. I mean, it must be weird for you guys to go on about like just even like being in training and stuff like that. And that's, I keep saying, you've only been around for like a couple of years, but these guys like Josie, like sort of said, Stan and all those ones, they'll be looking at you like you're freaking veterans. They're looking at you, even though you've only been around for a couple of years. They're picking your brains, and you can you're imparting your wisdom on these guys. It must be weird for you, like so, say, because you guys are still, are still young, but you could be training the next generation already.
I mean, I help where I can.
We help out, but we're not, at the level we should be training people.
No, I'm not Sam Bailey. I'm not Flash Morgan Webster.
Like, I mean, yeah, we help where we can, but I'm not.
I just mean like with like the matches when it comes to tag team wrestling. I think you guys have got that wealth of experience now, kind of thing, where you have wisdom to impart. Yeah, no, I'm not expecting you to take training lessons and stuff, but if some guy was sort of being like, well, I want to form a tag team, whose brain can I pick?
Yeah, and we love that, because the more tag teams, the better.
Yeah, and we're both very opinionated, and we both like the sound of our own voices, and if you want to know about our opinion on tag wrestling, whatever that's worth to anyone, we're happy to talk about it and share what we think or what we have learned. We're happy to do that, definitely.
As a fan, I want to sort of say, I want about you guys coming over here. I think if you guys ever, if I ever see you guys on True Grit or anything like that, I've already fantasy booked it. In my head, I want to see Quintessential versus CrashBoat. That's like one of my dream matches.
I want to see Quintessential versus CrashBoat. I had a match with. It's still to this day one of the best matches I've ever had. It was a singles match against Jack Bandicoot at OTP, and it was one of the most comfortable times I've had in the ring, of just being like, I know this is going well, and I know that I can have fun while I'm doing it, and it's at a fun company. So like, if we could get that tag match and like actually do the thing that we love most, against two guys who are fantastic at it. I mean, that's always the dream. We've got so many dream matches as well. And with like new tag teams popping up, like Hyperactive, doing like crazy good shit and just being dope as hell. It's so cool. The tag scene in this country is insane. It's perhaps the best tag scene in the world, and it's the best it's looked in so long, and I'm like so proud to be a part of that.
Christy, would you want to take on CrashBoat?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember watching Pud versus Bandicoot, and I just thought, I mean, great match. I think it should be on YouTube or something. Seek it out. It's so good.
If not, I'll send out.
But
the
yeah,
link.
I think. Yeah, I just great team, and obviously True Grit. Like we love to work there. I think, like we got friends who work there. Joey Slade and Tony Wright. Act Two. Just it's a really cool place. Venue looks insanely cool. We'd love to get over there.
We don't mention Joey Slade though to True Grit fans at the minute because it's like everywhere else. I love Joey. I've said numerous times Joey's awesome, love him to pieces. But at True Grit, unfortunately, he is JC's bitch boy. He was his footstool at the last show.
Bitch boy, fucking hell.
Yeah,
rough.
But we know
No,
that,
he is bitch
we
boy.
knew that anyway. We know that for different reasons. He's a bitch boy.
Famously, you ask anyone, Joey Slade's a bitch boy.
Yeah, that's
Notorious bitch boy.
You know.
Yeah.
Poor Joey. He's actually, strangely enough, he's on tomorrow's episode, so we'll be sure to bring this up as well. So yeah, it's my double bill this week. I've got Quintessential and Joey Slade on this week, so that's why I'm double billing.
That's great. Be a good trio.
Awesome. Could be a good trio, just not a True Grit where he's a bitch boy.
We don't associate with bitch boys. No way.
Well, in that case, we need you guys to turn up at True Grit and take on the new tag champs, powers that be, Franco and Brad, and get the titles back.
That sounds hot.
Yeah, it sounds great. Yeah, I'd love to wrestle Franco.
Brother, we're not the guys you need to be saying this to.
I know. If I put it on here and I clip it, I can put it out onto the social media universe. I can manifest it, hopefully.
True.
So if I say it on here, we'll clip it. We'll get people listening and be like, "Oh, shit."
Yeah, if it was up to us, we'd be on every show.
Every show, every weekend.
You'd be sick of us.
Guys, I said I would keep you for about an hour. I think I've pretty much done that. Don't want to sort of take up all your evening. What I'll do though, before you go, is we're all about I mentioned CrashBoat. You said you've got a few dream matches. I'm not going to ask for all of them, but I will ask both of you, if you just name me, if you could book any match you wanted to this weekend, Pud, who would be? It could be against Act 2 if you want to face those guys again. If you want to face somebody new who's out there that you're thinking, deserves the quintessential treatment.
I mean, there's so many to name. There's guys like the 05 we really want to work, Sunshine Machine we really want to work. I think the top of my list, since we debuted, the top of my list has always been Shitwolves, like us, Jim. I think they're, not just the best tag team in this country, but, best tag team in Europe, perhaps best independent tag team in the world. I think they're in the conversation for definitely. I just love watching them wrestle, and I think the amount that we could learn, and I think we'd have a really, really good match with them. So yeah, that's like us, Jim. I'd have that booked tomorrow. I'd have it booked tonight.
Right now. Christy, do you second that, or?
Like Oshun would be certainly, if not top, you know, I don't know. Like we love watching them wrestle singles and tag. I think they're amazing. If I had to pick a different team, possibly Sunshine Machine, or maybe a little bit more like unrealistic, unreachable for this weekend. Subculture.
Subculture, GYV. Just throw everyone out there.
Yeah, love to wrestle Flash. Having being coached by him a little bit, that'd be great.
Oh god, yeah. Again, just any of those matches would just be like your money. Put it on a poster, see the tickets fly out. Jobs are good.
The tickets fly out because you've got NXT UK next to Subculture, and then just the Quinlans, I guess.
No, dude, don't sell yourself short. I think just the thought of that match, both teams equal footing, so good. I'm not going to say it's. Don't sell yourself short. You guys have got an amazing fan base.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. It means a lot.
Appreciate that.
So let people know where they can come. And second, my opinion on that. If you want to go show Quintessential some love, hit them up. Want to give out your X's and your Instas? Shout
out. I'm Christy Quinlan 1 on everything. Well, the two things that I'm on, which is Twitter. I'm not calling it X, and Instagram.
I think I'm Porger Quinlan 1 on Twitter and Porger Quinlan PW on Instagram. And if you can't spell Porger Quinlan, it's on the screen. Just don't be an obed. That's all I'm on. That's it.
And obviously, you know where we are. But yeah, that's it, gentlemen. Thank you so much for taking the time out and just chatting with me and just talking about
before we go, sorry. Just coming up, where you can find us just before we finish. Not this weekend, next weekend. We're in the Infamous 8 Tag Team Tournament against FTM. Obviously, lads that we've had a bit of a big rivalry with. We've had matches at Atomic. We've already had a match in Infamous, and we just want to keep going with those guys. We think they're amazing, and also gobby little dickheads. So if you want to see us batter them, that's at Infamous on the 28th of June. Run call Masonic Hall. Day after, straight after, if you want a fucking heavy little weekender, we've got Wrestle Island up in Rock Ferry. I'm taking on Scott Oberman, as we've already discussed. Christie's taking on Lance Rivera, as we've already discussed. They're going to be two bangers. That's going to be a real fun weekend, and I'm going to tan for it.
Yeah, that is absolutely mind-blowing. But yeah, obviously, if you're over in that neck of the woods, go see it. If you're not over in that neck of the woods, get yourself over there. It's just freaking craziness. But yeah, obviously, hit like, subscribe, share, comment, all the generic stuff we ask you to do. But guys, it's just anytime I get to talk tag team wrestling, I'm always happy. So I can't thank you both enough for just taking the time out to talk to me.
Oh no, it's been a pleasure, man. It's been awesome. Thank you so much for having us on.
Thank you so much.
Great. And join us for the next episode as we talk to that bitch boy, Joey Slade. So remember, always work the left side, and we'll see you so very soon. Goodbye.